Hey everybody, welcome back to my actual play of Star Trek Adventures Captain's Log solo role-playing game. My name is Jim Johnson. I'm the project manager and line editor for the Star Trek Adventures RPG and the Captain's Log solo RPG, both published by Modiphius Entertainment. Lo these many years. This is part 3 of my actual play video series working through Captain's Log. Part 1 was character generation. Part 2 was starship generation and a few details. And now we're actually going to start jumping into the first mission here. I'm super excited to start getting going here. Let me get my timer going. I'm going to try to keep this to half an hour just to see how much we can pack into half an hour. If I'm close to a good stopping point, I might go over a little bit. But we'll just see what happens here. So let's just jump right into it. Quick recap. My character's name is Woidi. He's a commander, Commander Woidi. He's the first officer on the USS Yiso-Yon. That is a Angle-class starship. And yeah, I'm ready to jump into this, so let's get going here. So the Yiso-Yon, Angle-class, talents, advanced sensor suites, improved impulse drive, improved warp drive. So I'm thinking this is like a scout ship, kind of a Pathfinder survey ship. We covered this in the last video, so let's not hesitate to jump in here. So I've got my character, I've got my starship. I am ready to jump into my first mission. So what I'm going to do is I'm pulling up Captain's Log. I'm going to page 184, and that is the getting started flowchart. This tells you step by step, what do you need to do to start telling your story here. So step 1, create your character and ship. Done, right? First two videos of this series covered that. That's Chapter 3, Chapter 4 of the books. Chapter 3 covers character generation, whether you're doing the life path or creation in play. And then Chapter 4 is all about creating your starship or your space station. So you get that done. Next, select your mission type. So now we are ready to start this first episode. I've got Scrivener up. I've got the logo, Captain's Log. There might be a lot of stuff going on the screen here. You don't need to watch me. Maybe watch the text. You don't need to watch the text so much. Maybe just sit back, grab yourself a beverage, just listen, enjoy the story as we start pulling it together here. We're going to start pulling in all the different pieces that start making up a Star Trek story, and we'll see what kind of incredible adventure Commander Woidi can get into here. Woidi, right? Yep, I'm still learning my character. Woidi. Commander Woidi is a half Cation, half Kzinti. Favors the Cation side. Has kind of pushed away the Kzinti side of things. That could be a factor in a future episode. Who knows? We'll just see what happens here, right? Shall we? All right, so step number 2, select your mission type. Roll on mission profile and the subsequent specific mission types matrix beginning on page 257. All right, so we're going to, I'm using the PDF here that we got with the download package, and it just so happens that all these page numbers in here are hot linked. So you can click on page 257, go straight to mission type. Now, I wish I had been smart enough to think of creating some sort of back button so we can go back to that page, but didn't think of it at the time. So unfortunately, we'll just have to deal with it here. There's also a flow chart on page 255 if you need that. So there's a couple different directions you can go here. The flow charts are not mutually exclusive. They are very much complementary. But as you can see, is this mission chart, this mission flow chart here on page 255 under generating mission type. Start by rolling on the mission type matrix, page 257. So mission type, we've got 20 different potential missions here. Maybe some enterprising writer out there will start creating some bigger stories here, or bigger matrices, and we can get even more creative. But for now, I've got my D20s. I got my command color D20s, right? And let's go ahead and roll and see what happens here. So mission type, this is what the first mission. Let's see what we come up with here. I rolled an 8. And if we look at the mission type here, 8 is a first contact mission. Okay, this is auspicious beginnings here. So I'm going to jot down, this is a, mission type, and I'm just doing this for the sake of completion. You may not need to do this, but first contact. What I'm going to do here is kind of take notes of everything I'm doing step by step, and then probably offline I will write this out as a narrative or something, and then maybe post that online somewhere, or I'll just have it in my notes to take advantage of at some point. But for now, I'm just trying to get all the pieces into place for this story so I can start figuring out where it's actually going. So first step was mission type, and now once you've rolled on your mission type, there is a separate table for each of those mission types. So all these 18 different mission types, there is a separate table for each of those, so you can go into a little bit more down into the weeds now, right? So we got a first contact, so we're going to just scroll through the pages here and find the first contact longer probability matrix, right? And so page 261 has the first contact. So it says here, once a new species has been identified, they must be studied. A determination must be made if they are ready to learn about other starfaring races. Are they potentially hostile? Do they possess the necessary technological advancements? After months or even years of long-range recon and clandestine observation, when the time comes, someone must make first contact. Although many times the Federation Council will send out a qualified ambassador to make first contact, sometimes it will fall to you and your crew to reveal the existence of other planets and civilizations in the galaxy. All right, so that's first contact. If you're familiar with Star Trek, you're familiar with first contact. If you're new to Star Trek, hey, this is an opportunity for the Federation, which is the big, like United Nations equivalent, and they go out and reach out to new worlds, new species, new civilizations to try to learn more about them. So let's see what we got here. I'm going to roll another d20 on this random table here. See what kind of specific first content we get. All right, I rolled a 19. So this is not exactly a first contact mission. This is actually a second contact mission. Okay, so we can go into a little bit more detail here. So it's first contact, but it's actually a second contact. Whoops. Second contact mission. Okay, so this is a species or polity or a world that that the Federation has encountered before, and now we're going to go back and visit again. So step 2 was rolling that specific types matrix to determine more details about the mission you have been assigned. Yeah, we did that. Next, we're going to roll an incident, and then we're going to roll a theme. So now we're starting to get into the storytelling elements here. What's going on as we open up the story here? You know, we're probably opening up the episode with a shot of the ship. What was the ship's name again? The Yisoyon, the Engel-class Yisoyon in space, probably with the warp lines going around it. It's heading toward this planet. At some point, we'll have a captain's log voiceover. I can't know what that is yet because I don't know what the mission is. I don't know the details, but that's what we're working on. That's what we're building toward here, is to work on that, get that captain's log ready to go here. All right, so roll an incident and then a theme. These are both on page 267. So we'll jump over to there. So 267, incident and theme, right here together on the same page. So we've got the general mission directive figured out, right? It's going to be a second contact mission. Now we're going to start adding conflict to the story by using incidents and themes, which creates your inciting incident, like what's happening in the story to get the episode started, right? You just don't sit there in a vacuum waiting for something to happen. Things happen fairly immediately in order to get involved in the story, right? These are usually unexpected events that set your character on a journey that will occupy them throughout the adventure. All right, so let's see what we've got here. These are both 2d20 tables. So we're going to roll first on incident, and we have a 3. So this is a command incident. Command incident. Okay, and then the theme, we have a 7. So this is a living ship. Oh, okay. Interesting. A living ship. All right. Okay, so we'll go back to the page on 255 here. So we've got our incident, we've got our theme. Now we can roll a d20 to generate a starting advantage, even, or complication, odd. All right, so now we'll jump to pages 268, 269. This is where you got tables of advantages and complications. Advantages and complications, in this case, at the beginning of the episode. This is where you start off the episode with something kind of potentially helping you out, or something immediately potentially hindering you. These advantages and complications could be saved for later in the story if you want to, or you could just jump in and use them right away in that opening scene, the teaser or Act 1, whatever you consider that start there, depending on how you're structuring your story. There are some options there. So let's see. So evens is an advantage, and odd is a complication. So again, 1d20. I rolled a 1. I rolled the Starfleet Delta 1. So this is going to be a complication. So immediately I'm starting off with a complication. This is a d20 table. I'm going to roll on that, and I rolled a 3. So 3 is a random failure. A piece of stable equipment suddenly shorts out, or a crew member fails their task in an unexpected way. So I'm going to make note of this, that at some point there's going to be a complication in the story of a random failure, either equipment, ship, oh, can't spell today, ship, or, excuse me, character. Let me grab a simple water here. Alright, so now we'll just jump back to page, I think it was 255, right? 255, okay, so we've generated our starting advantage, or in this case a complication. Depending on the result, roll a starting advantage or a starting complication. Yep, we did that. Oh, I see. Yeah, that's right. Step 4 is whether it's even or odd, and then 5 is roll the advantage or the complication. 6, add even more excitement to your inciting incident by rolling on the encounters matrix. So page 270. Now we're going to start adding, like, what's that first encounter? What's that first scene? What's that first thing that's going to hit us going into the story here? So we jumped to 270. This is the encounters probability matrices, part of Appendix 1. So now we know our mission type, our incident theme, our advantage, or our complication, and now we're going to start using the encounters probability matrix to really start adding more layers to this. So if you think of a story like an onion, right? We've got the core of the character in the starship, and now we're adding layers. We're adding all these different layers. We've got a second contact mission. It's a command incident. It's a living ship. We have a potential complication, which is a random failure. Whether it's a piece of equipment, a ship, or a character, that's yet to be determined. Just really have to see what happens with the story here. I'm not going to format this right now. I'll do that later. I don't want to bore you with that. We are cruising along here. All right, let me check my time. Yep, we're doing all right. All right, so now we're going to roll on this type of encounter table here. And this is a D20 table. Alright, so type of encounter, rolling a random 20-sided dice. I rolled an 11, and that is a inhabited planet. Alright, so type of encounter, inhabited planet. Alright, that's interesting. So now we'll keep digging a little deeper here. Now each of these types of encounters has its own sub-matrix below it. Submatrix 0? No. No, that's Unimatrix. Unimatrix 0 is not submatrix. Alright, so we're going to be looking for inhabited planet. So we're going to want to go to inhabited planet. Oh, you know what? If I had thought about it, maybe we could have made all these hot linked too. We'll have to think about that. Anyway, so let's go to inhabited planet, which is on page 273. Again, this is a D20 table, so we're just going to be rolling some dice here. So let's see, inhabited planet, let's add some detail to this encounter here, okay? So we got 10 is my result. So a lone rehabilitation colony is the only permanent shelter on the surface. Okay. Interesting. So an inhabited planet with a lone rehab center being the only inhabited, wait a minute, a lone rehabilitation colony, wait a minute, I'm getting this wrong, rehabilitation colony is the only permanent shelter on the surface. Well, that is really interestingly worded. I think we're going to add some detail to that here pretty soon. But let's excuse me. Let's check some more details here. So let's go back to 255. Let me just jump on here. 255. Oh, the power of digital books to just jump from thing to thing. All right, so we've added some excitement to our inciting incident. As needed, we can generate people, places, and things by using the appendices 2 through 4. And then we would write our captain's log. All right, so let's go back a little bit. Let's look at that other table and see if there's anything that we've missed. So I'm going to go back through. So chapter 6 is all about writing, all about effective writing. So if you are a little at odds or in irons about how just to start writing this thing, we give you some really useful advice in there. Hopefully it's useful advice anyway. You let us know how it is. This is all combat. We're going to skip that for now. We haven't gotten into combat yet. We're taking actions. We're not ready to take an action yet because we don't even have the start of the story yet. Momentum and threat, probability matrices, main objective. Here we go. All right, so getting started. We've created our character, our ship. We've selected our mission type. We've generated the incident, the theme, the advantages, and the complications. That's step 3. Yep, we've done all that. Step 4, roll our encounter. Yep, we've rolled the encounter. So we've got our encounter. It's an inhabited planet with a lone rehab colony, which is the only permanent shelter on the surface. Next, we would start generating people, places, and things based on that inciting incident. Now is the time to roll up the non-player characters, locations, and other details that will help create more conflict in the game. Begin with the Allies and Adversaries section in Appendix 2 on page 281. All right, so now we've got our encounter. Now it's time to start adding those details, all those great details that go into the story. Who are some of the characters we're going to encounter? Maybe what some of this stuff is like. Then we'll write our captain's log. I don't know that we'll get to that tonight, but we're going to be putting all the pieces together. Then I'll write that captain's log, and then maybe for the next episode of this actual play, I can kick off with the captain's log, or I guess in this case the commander's log. And then we can jump into the actual Act 1 there, or the teaser, and then Act 1. All right, so let's jump over to page 281. This is Allies and Adversaries. But let's take a pause here and just take a look at this. So we know we're going to be doing, we know this story, this first episode is going to be about a first contact mission type, but that first contact is actually a second contact mission. So this is a culture that the Federation has encountered before, and because it's a second contact mission, it is probably, by definition, a warp-capable culture. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Star Trek, this is where a little bit of research might be valuable. However, the first 2 chapters of this book give you a primer on the Star Trek universe, Star Trek setting. We'll explain the Prime Directive. We'll talk a little bit about warp-capable species, warp-capable cultures. So you can get a sense of how this all works together. That being said, go watch some Star Trek. There's plenty of Star Trek out there to watch. There's at least 1,000 hours of Star Trek nowadays. So I'm willing to bet that if you put a search engine to work and search for Star Trek first contact episodes, or in this case Star Trek second contact episodes, you'll find a bunch. Lower Decks in particular. Lower Decks is all about second contacts. So check those out as you have an opportunity. So it's going to be a second contact mission. So there's an opportunity here for us to delve a little deeper into this culture. What is the culture? What is the culture? Culture we're about to second contact. So that is probably the first thing we're going to start working on here. So we're going to go to, we're going to work our way through the book here, just kind of page through here. These are NPC stuff, life forms, beasts of the galaxy, spaceborne entities, strange new worlds. Let's see, so command, incident, living ship, random failure. The encounter is going to be on an inhabited planet with a lone rehab colony. All right, so just thinking about this, I think the second contact could be either with the living ship. The second contact could be with the living ship, or it could be the second contact is with the inhabited planet with a lone rehab colony. No, you know what? I think what we're gonna go with here is, well, actually, you know what? How about this? let's use the yes/no probability matrix. So if we go to 316, no, is it with three something? What the heck is it? It's 3. I was close. 3. Well, that's not 322. It's actually 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 22. No, it is 322. All right, so if we go to the 322, the quick reference guide here, the yes or no probability matrix. So I'm debating whether the second contact is with the living ship or is the second contact with the inhabited planet. So that is a 50-50. It could be either one. So I'm going to go with the yes or no probability matrix. 1 to 10, it's the living ship. 11 to 20, it's the inhabited planet. So let's see which of these two things is our mission focused on here, right? And I rolled a 6. So the second contact. Yeah, right. So the second contact. Second. Gosh. And what's funny is I got my new microphone in front of me, and I'm trying to type around my microphone, so I'm gonna have to rethink my setup here, because I'm doing this for y'all, right? I bought myself a new microphone last week, and I'm working on enhancing the video quality of the videos I'm doing. So I'm really trying to make an effort here to make these a little bit better quality, so that you can actually make use of them and enjoy them. Anyway, so second contact is of the living ship. Okay, so of the living ship colony. So the living ship is the culture that we're going to be second contacting with. Sure. Okay, so let's go to 266, just as a place to start here, because what we're going to be doing now, where are we here? We are looking for the here we go, Strange New Worlds. So this is a living ship. At some point, we're going to want to go into more detail, build some more detail around this inhabited planet. But before we do that, I want to learn more about this culture. But let me make a note here so I don't forget. Build the sector or system containing the inhabited planet, because that's going to be useful information to know when we start writing the captain's log and when we first start getting into the scene. All that information that you need is all here in the tables and stuff. We just need to be able to unlock it and use all that as grist for our story. So let's just get into it here. Let me jump past this a little bit. What I'm looking for is the civilization. Here we go. So page 299, we have a whole section here on designing a civilization. So we're going to start working on this here. Now, because we know that this is a second contact, I am pretty much going to just say that this is already it's going to be, well, it's a living ship, so it's class M. Well, it doesn't have to be class M equivalent, I guess, but it is it's a warp-capable species, so clearly it's got to be warp capable, or otherwise the Federation wouldn't be excuse me, having a second contact with them, obviously. All right, so designing a civilization. Let's go into a little more detail here. So I'm going to skip this civilization chart just for the purpose of this one. All right, so here we go. Type of government. What kind of government does this living culture have? This living ship culture. 6. It's a democracy. Okay, well that's good or useful. Democracy. It's a democracy. Okay, and let's see. Is it a multiple polity, or is it like a single entity, or is it multiples? Now I'm guessing it's probably single, but it may not be. So we would go to the yes/no probability matrix. 1 to 10, it is a singleton, and 11 to 20, it's a part of a larger polity. So I rolled a 5. So it is a single entity. So diplomacy, single polity. Okay, so that'll be useful for us to be aware of. Let's see, does it have a religion? Each world encountered has its own unique philosophies and religions. These are broad categories, so these are just some ideas. Let's just, for the sake of looking at it, here, if we come up with anything. Deism, I'm going to put that as a question mark, only because I'm not sure I want to go that route, but let's just take a look at it here and think about it. I'll do a little research offline. Let's see, type of societies. Well, we already know they're warp capable, so I'm going to skip that chart. What do they have to offer? Oh, this is the important question, right? The Federation, even though they're, overall positive and theoretically benevolent, although I'm sure there's some arguments for that one way or the other, especially in the original series era. 23rd century, they were potentially leaning into that, colonizer thing, which is a interesting conversation to have. But for the purposes of this, let's just go with the reality that the Federation would not be reaching out to this culture if there wasn't something in it for the Federation, right? I mean, certainly they are They are, you know, philanthropic in some cases and willing to work with others just for the sake of working with others. But at the end of the day, especially in the 23rd century, where the Federation was not necessarily aggressively expanding, but certainly expanding, although the Klingons might argue otherwise. But anyway, so let's see. What does this culture have to offer? Let's find out. Let's roll d20, and we'll see what we got here. All right, so we rolled a 3. An agricultural overabundance. Okay. Agricultural overabundance. So like maybe this thing is a maybe it's like a greenhouse ship or something. Greenhouse ship or some sort of living factory. Like heck, maybe it's like a forest ship or something that's like creating all kinds of incredible agricultural boons and bonuses and stuff, and the Federation wants it. All right, so let's see what we've got here so far. So we know this is going to be a second contact with this culture. The incident's going to be command. The theme is a living ship because it's a living ship, right? Complications is going to be a random failure type of thing. This is the opening encounter that we're going to hit on the first in the start of the episode. But we got some cultural detail here. Oh, you know what we need here is we need a name for this culture. What is the name of this culture? What is the culture we're about to name, and what is their name? So we can go into our tables here, and we're looking for the name generator table. How are we doing on time here? We are at 26 minutes. Okay, I'm going to try to keep moving here and find a good place to stop, but because I want to be respectful of everybody, and I want you to just sit here for hours and hours and hours listening to me ramble on and rolling dice, right? Who wants that? All right, anyway, so alien name world generator. Let's see, let's go with, how many syllables do I want in this thing? Let's go 3 syllables. Okay, so I'm going to roll d20 here. So the syllable progression is a 15, so that's DAC. Let me just make a quick note of this here on a scratch paper. DAC is the syllables we're looking for. First syllable is, I rolled a 12, so 12 looking at D is UFU. UFU. And second one is an A. I rolled a 20, that is HA. UFU, HA. And then the third syllable is 1, and that is going to be DAC was what we had. So 1C is vid, VID. So you okay. This is the fun of science fiction, right? So so it's UFU HA VIC, right? Was it VIC? VI, it was C, right? So C, and I rolled a 1. Vid. Ufuhavid. Let's put a hyphen in there. The Ufu or Ufu? No, that should be Ufu. All right, so let me put a pronunciation guide in here. Ufuhavid is the name of the culture. All right, so we got our culture name there. The Ufuhavid is the name of the culture, or maybe the name of the living ship. Who knows, right? All right, so work capable. They're democracy, single polity, possibly deism. I'm going to highlight that so I can do a little research on what exactly deism is. I'll need, not unfortunately, but we didn't provide those definitions in the book. Encouraging you to go hit your dictionary, go hit the internet, learn something, do a little, be curious. Okay, so the Ufuhavid are the species that we're going to be second encountering. Okay, but before we have that encounter, before we have that second contact, we have to deal with this inhabited planet with a lone rehab colony being the only permanent shelter on the surface. And now that I'm thinking about it, maybe this complication is something going wrong with that rehab colony. Some random failure impacted that rehab colony and is forcing us to divert from our second contact mission to resolve this. Or maybe well, I mean, I kind of like that. That's a good starting point, I think. Is there probability on there's something being wrong? Well, how about this? How about we add this little detail? Is the complication related to the encounter, right? So yes, no. So 1 to 10, yes. 11 to 20, no. So I rolled a 17. So no, the complication is not related to the colony. Okay, so the complication is not related to the colony. So the colony is not complication is not related to the colony. Okay, so we got our second contact. All right, so now we know we're going to be dealing with this this inhabited planet with a lone rehab colony. Actually, there's some other stuff that we could think about here, right? The living ship could be somehow interfering with the rehab colony. The rehab colony could be interfering with the living ship. That seems unlikely, though, if this is a second contact mission. Yeah, we'll have to think about. I'll have to give that a little bit of a thought here. All right, so let's add some detail to this sector space that we're going to be containing the inhabited planet. And hey, just because I'm flipping here, there's a planet name generator. So let's go with, we're going to roll 2d20 here, 1819. So this is Tau E. Tau E, so whatever we choose to name this sector or the system, this planet is Tau E. Tau E. Okay. Timing rolls, no. No, don't need any of those. We're not damaged. We don't have to worry about crew casualties just yet. This is location. Do you need to locate a generator fascinating location for your story? Do you need to add flavor? Well, yeah, you know what? This would be a good opportunity for us to use this detail here. So this location, instead of rolling on the random table for location by theme, we already know that it's an inhabited planet, and we already know that it's a rehab colony, right? So if we look at these locations: alien, cataclysmic, contaminated, cosmic, dimensional, habitat, military, political, religious, or research. So all we have is it's a lone rehab colony being the only permanent shelter on the surface. So that sounds like it's probably a habitat. So let's go to habitat, a table on page 305. Let's roll a d20. Whoop, almost lost it. Roll again. Rolled a 15. So this was okay. All right. So the rehab, the planet with the rehab colony on it was recently damaged in battle, thanks to pirates. So the earlier we determined that the colony is not impacted by a random failure, but they've been attacked by pirates. Okay, so what would you rather have had? The shipper colony was disabled after being targeted for plunder by pirates. The random types of weaponry involved in the methods of attack revealed that trained crews of mercenaries or pirates did this. So thanks to trained mercs or pirates. Okay, so now we've got something going on. So no, it may not have been a random failure, but the only permanent shelter on the surface. See, in that little clause there about on the surface, it's the only permanent shelter on the surface. Makes me think, okay, maybe there's people living underground, and then it's the only permanent shelter. What kind of temporary shelters are on the surface? And why is there only one permanent shelter on the surface of the planet? What happened to the planet? It's inhabited. But why is the planet not more inhabited? Like, why isn't there more to it? Um, yeah, who knows? We'll have to think about that. All right, so we've got it was recently damaged in battle thanks to trained mercs and pirates. Okay. All right, so let's go flipping through a couple of these more here. Do we want to roll? Do we want to create a system for the for Planet Tau E? Do we want that level of detail? Sure, why not? Let's do it. We got a little bit of time, right? How are we doing here? We're at 35 minutes, so I think I'm gonna wrap this up here in just a couple of minutes here, just see if there's any other details we want to cover here. So let's build this system. We're going to system generation on page 296. All right, so we're going to say that there are roll of 4, so there's 3 planets in this system. So there are 3 planets, one of which is Tau E. 3 planets. In fact, I'm going to change that a little bit. Since E is 5, I'm going to, well, actually, you know what? Let's leave it at 3. 3 planets. All right. So we'll go down. All right. So do I want to go into more detail? Inner worlds, outer worlds, primary worlds. The primary world. So Tau E is the primary world, and it is a 11. It's a class M planet. Okay, so planet is Tau E, and that is a traditional class M planet, just like Earth. Tau E, class M planet. Okay. And I think I don't want too much more detail about the other planets right now. I think I'm just happy to see that there's 2 other planets, including Tau E. And actually, out of curiosity, Tau E, how many moons does Tau E have? I rolled a 14, so it has 2 moons. Okay, so planet Tau E, class M, with 2 moons. That could be important for some reason. Who knows? We'll have to see how it goes. Sector system. All right, so let's just quickly go through some of the tables here, just see if there's any other interesting detail we can add here. We don't have a spaceborne entity. We non-player characters. All right. We're not ready to spend threat yet. Nope, we're not there yet. So let's just look at 255 here real quick, see where we are in our flowchart. So we got our signing incident, we got the encounter matrix, we generate people, places, and things. So we've generated some information about the second contact culture. We've got some information about the planet, the rehab colony. So rehab colony. Recently damaged in pirates, thanks to trained mercs and pirates. Yeah. All right, something to, so let's add just a little bit more detail before we wrap up for tonight. So I'm going to go to the, I want to know more about this rehab colony. Is the rehab colony a single species, or is it multiple species? So random table, 1 to 10 is single species, 11 to 20 is multiple. So I rolled a 14, so this is a multiple species rehab colony. So this is a multiple species rehab colony. And in fact, let's find out, is this a Federation colony or a non-Federation colony? So 1 to 10 Federation, 11 to 20 is not. All right, so I rolled a 4. So it is a Federation colony, so that makes sense for it to be multiple species. This is a Federation, multiple species rehab colony, which is interesting because if it's been attacked by pirates, maybe this changes the opening of the story a little bit, right? So if this is a Federation colony that was recently damaged in battle, they probably called for help. Starfleet sent the Yiso Yon to go render aid, right? Potentially. or assistance, or even just take their enhanced sensors and go scout out the area. Maybe we're here to kind of like get a feel for what's going on, or maybe we were embarking upon the second contact mission en route, and then we did get the distress signal. Classic Star Trek, right? We got a distress signal from a rehab colony. Yeah. Okay. So maybe we lean into that again. So on the way to the second contact, we get a distress signal from the rehab colony that they were attacked, and we had to divert course to render aid. Now this is just the opening sequence here, because like the main thrust of the mission is that second contact, right? So this is not so much a detour, but this is the inciting incident. This is getting us into the adventure. We're gonna have to deal with whatever's happening on the planet, rescue the people, and then we're gonna go to that second contact, and we'll see what gets involved here. All right, so that's enough. That right there is enough to probably write a commander's log. That we're going to divert course to render aid, which means like when we start the first scene next time, we're going to be wanting to put together an away team landing party to go down to the colony, render assistance, render aid, and assistance, do some scouting in the system, maybe try to get any details we can about the pirates that attacked the colony. This is something I was thinking about. I am in love with Strange New Worlds, and so I think I want because we're on an Engel class ship, I think I want to set this after the first two seasons of Discovery, after the Federation Klingon War has resolved itself, and so we're kind of in that in between space between the end of Discovery season 2 and the start of the original series, right? So this is right in that sweet spot where Strange New Worlds is right now, that 2258 to 2265 time frame, that little wiggle room in there. So I'm going to say this is like 2258 post Klingon Federation War. And so there's still some a lot of plot hooks and ideas that we can crank into that, and that's why the second contact mission is really important, because the Federation is looking for everything they can get. So the fact that this living ship has a agricultural overabundance, that is super important for the Federation. So they really want that food to be able to spread it out among the Federation and allies to help them out here. So this is 2258 post Klingon War. Mission types: first contact, second contact mission, command living ship. Yep. Second contact, yep. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to wrap this up here, but what I'm going to do at some point before we get together again, so to speak, I'm going to... you know what? Maybe I should just wait. What I want to do is I want to go into the... some of the tables and start creating some NPCs, because like the whoever's in command of the or whoever's in charge of the rehab colony, I think that would be a useful non-player character to interact with, to have the commander interact with, because obviously I'm the first officer. I'm probably going to be the one leading the away team, even though this is the original series and the captains tended to do that thing. It's my story. This is Captain's log, but it's about my story. I'm the commander. It's going to be about me, more than anything else. All right, so let's wrap it up there. So I've got everything I need here to kind of like get started. I got all the information I need to probably write an effective commanding first officer log. I've got some good detail here. I'm going to clean this up and revise it a little bit. I might find a place to post this online so that I can share it, and then I can start building it as we go episode to episode. So anyway, folks, thanks so much for your time. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. I hope this was interesting. If you have any questions about anything you've seen here on this Oh, that's interesting. I shouldn't do that. I should keep that up. There we go. I'll leave that up, and I'll switch to that window. There we go. So anyway, if you have any questions about anything you've seen here, post a question in the comments below. Like and subscribe to the video. Join my channel if you want to. I'm going to be doing a lot of these. The great thing about Captain's Log is once you get into it, you can rattle off a lot of scenes in 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever, as we get into it. So I'm wrapping up here in 44 minutes, so I kept you a little longer than I expected. But I hope you had a good time. Thanks so much. Check it out. Again, the book's on pre-order. If you want to go to Modiphius.com or Modiphius.us or Modiphius.net, depending on where you are in the world. You get the PDF right away when you pre-order the book. The book will be at Gen Con. It'll be shipping right at that point, early August. The PDF will also go on sale all by itself on the web stores and on DriveThruRPG at that point as well, early August. But in the meantime, if you want to grab yourself a hard copy and pre-order the hard copy, get the PDF right away, just start jumping right into the stories. Start creating a character and join me in this amazing journey here. So anyway, be safe, be well, live long and prosper. I will talk to you all next time.